come when I'm at the Institute. I say, we've never healed one person. We've had thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people come through Hippocrates. Not one did we heal. You should see how surprised the guests are. Because they want me to lie like all of the other natural doctors. Oh, we heal this one and heal that. We don't heal people. We give you tools, we give you love, we give you education. Education is the one thing that people need. We have bad education. The meat industry educated. You need meat to build protein. That's craziness.
צמחים היא למעשה חברת הצמחי מרפא הגדולה ביותר בישראל בתחום הרפואה הסינית. היא למעשה מביאה כמעט לכל בית את הנושא של ארון התרופות הסינית. בארון התרופות הסיני אפשר למצוא צמחי מרפא שמתאימים לנושא של כאבי בטן, צמחי מרפא שמתאימים לנושא של שיעול, מתאימים לילדים וגם למבוגרים. ישנם מוצרים שמתאימים לילדים, ישנם מוצרים שמתאימים גם למבוגרים. בנוסף לזן צמחים יש מוצר שנקרא גרין מגמה. גרין מגמה זהו עשב השעורה. עשב השעורה למעשה מגיע באבקה. באבקה עצמה יש את כל הוויטמינים, את כל המינרלים. זה עשב שעורה אורגני. הוא למעשה מכיל בתוכו גם ויטמין C, גם סידן, גם ברזל, גם חומצות אמינו פעילות. הוא למעשה משמש כמולטי ויטמין. מולטי ויטמין מאוד עשיר, מאוד נוח להשתמש בו. זה בסך הכל לוקחים אבקה, מוסיפים למים קרים, מערבבים ושותים.
אנחנו מייצגים פה את חברת פוקה, שהיא חברה אנגלית, אקולוגית, אורגנית, ו5 שנים אנחנו מביאים אותה, ולחברה עצמה כבר יום הולדת 10, בדיוק עכשיו, בתקופה הזאת. שאחד מוצרי המפתח שלנו בארץ זה השמן זירי המפ, שבעצם רק אנחנו מביאים אותו. הוא אחד ממוצרי המפתח מפני שזה אומגה 3 צמחית, שהיא מכילה בכלל סופר פוד, גם חלבונים וגם שומנים אחרים בריכוז מאוד גבוה ובדיוק ביחס שהגוף צריך. אז הרבה אנשים לוקחים את זה וקוראים להם ניסים ונפלאות בכל התחומים של כאב, דלקת וקירור. אנחנו קוראים לזה קירור.
For being here tonight, coming out on a lovely, warm evening. Just reminds me of being home in Florida. This is how our weather is. And they asked us to speak about clothing tonight. But for the newcomers, we'll briefly give you an understanding of background of what Hippocrates is and why we would be interested in clothing. A long time ago, almost 57 years ago, our doors opened after our founder reversed stage 4. People that came were given days and weeks to live. And one by one, many of these people reversed cancers, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, etc., etc. And the worldwide reputation began to grow. As we sit here now, we are filled with guests, and we have 17 countries represented. The good news is, as time passed and people started to become awakened, they realized that yes, we need medicine, but in many cases, the answer is not medicine. In many cases, it's not the pharmaceutical solution, as we said. So in the 1960s, the counterculture began to, my generation, started to be more open to going back to the land and eating vegan diets and organic food. And the epicenter of this in America with food was Hippocrates Health Institute. And more people started to say, well, I'm going to come to Hippocrates before I'm dying, before I'm sick, before I'm suffering. Because they saw somebody close to them reverse a big disease, so they said, well. The Hollywood set started to come to us 25 years ago, because if you talk about anti-aging or active aging, there's no better way on the planet Earth to do this. The sun, as much as I was a believer and a raw food vegan, I was stunned when you're there at the Institute to see people come in on crutches and in wheelchairs, and I would look at their medical papers and think, every night, I hope this person is alive tomorrow. And I saw the first one and the second one and the 25th one and the 50th and the 100th. And by the 100th, I realized that everyone has a potential to recover. If you have a purpose to live, number one is not the diet. Number one is a purpose to live. And to have a purpose to live, you have to find your passion. When you find that passion, you are unstoppable. Hippocrates has not invented anything. We've just gone back and rediscovered what our ancestors knew. Today, sadly, in the health field, it has become prosperous and lots of money in it. So you hear 1,000 opinions from people who have no authority. And what we tend to do is clarify through science, step by step, why we fight aging, why people heal cancer, why people heal diabetes and Parkinson's or whatever else the disease may be, HIV, AIDS. And it really comes down quite simply to building up the body's resistance, the immunological system, so we can fight and protect it.
אנחנו יש לנו קייטרינג לאירועים, מאירועים של 50 איש עד 300 חתונות, כל מיני דברים כאלה. אנחנו עושים משלוחים, כל הסוגים, ואנחנו עושים הרבה סדנאות. יש לנו מרכז שנמצא בתל אביב, ושם אנחנו מקיימים סדנאות בישול בריא, סדנאות של קינוחים, סדנאות להורים וילדים, כל מיני סוגים של סדנאות.
What I'm going to talk about today is not only new things, very ancient things too. And, in our daily life, I use these things with our guests every day. In our daily life, I use it with our 4 children. That 3 are grown up now, but 1 is still home, and he still get hurt in soccer and all kinds of sports. And, things happen when you have children. And we have never had to bring our kids for vaccinations or antibiotics, and things happen naturally for any child. And they've gone through infections and inflammations, and everything has been dealt with naturally, like your mothers and grandmothers had to do too. And so of course he grabbed it from the table and it burned his whole arm. I mean, skin just burned. So I ran out in the garden and I cut the biggest leaf that I could find, and I cut it in slices. I cut the inside, that's gel, I cut that in slices and I put it all on his arm, and then I wrapped it with gauze, and I changed it morning and evening. Not a scar, nothing. Beautiful healing. And I know, what a difference, because I was burned as a child, and I still have my scar forever. He doesn't have a scar.
Now today when we spoke, we talked a little bit about cancer and how heavy metals and how chemicals actually cause most of the cancer, autism, Alzheimer's disease, neurological diseases, multiple sclerosis, etc. But about 35 years ago, I started to wake up a little bit to the possibility that clothing was dangerous. And I read one book. There was one book in the whole world that was written on by an English couple. And it wasn't scientific, but it made sense to me. So I said, someday I've got to now accumulate and gather data and statistics and information and tell people you can be thinking positive thoughts, eating good food, exercising the body, even having a great spiritual life, and still die because you're wearing polyester underwear. What we do know from not only science, which is overwhelming today, but from our 57 years doing clinical research on hundreds of thousands of humans, when you feed raw plant-based food to people, their cells become nourished, their skin, their bones, including their brain, their organ, become strong. Every one of us that adapted the proper living food diet, not high fruit, not high fat, not high cacao beans, not agave syrup, we're talking the proper raw food diet, not the recreational raw food diet. Every one of us, like it or not, our consciousness was coded to change. I was a nasty, angry guy when I started this. And I started to feel and love and understand things I never felt. Because the natural diet for humans is a raw, plant-based diet. And there may be other people discussing it, but let them come to us, I'll debate them, and we'll win the debate. Why? 57 years, clinical research on humans, hundreds of thousands of people.